Let's take a look at creating multiple views for a sprite layer through the animation rig. This is something a bit more advanced, but I did want to showcase it because it's an often underutilized feature. So the idea here is if you use the spin or some kind of rotation tool, sometimes the heads don't really translate very well depending on the kind of head that you're using. So there's a more elegant solution to do that. So let's review how to use sides if you've already created sprite work for different angles of your head, for example. So we're actually going to go in and unbind our head bone for now. Keep in mind when you unbind bones, that resets all of the depth settings that you've done, so you'll have to redo those. But in our case, we don't actually have to worry about that, and I'll show you why in a second. So you want to start by heading over to the head section, and we're going to leave this as the default. In fact, one thing I've done that I want to take note of is in some cases it'll just copy the front image to back, but in this case, we're not going to want to do that. We're actually going to want to create a back version of the head. So I've created that already. So I'm just going to click that and drag that in place. So now what we have is a true front and back head sprite. We're going to be creating even more angles for the head next. So I'm going to click New, and I'm going to select Side. I'm going to name this Side because I happen to have a perfectly perpendicular 90-degree facing head. So what I'm going to do for that is also copy front image to back. And in this case, that works fine because it's completely perpendicular to the camera view here. Next, we're going to create one called front. I also have a front-facing head sprite as well, so we'll move that into position. And instead of copying front image to back, we're actually going to manually select the back of the head that I've created here. So now we have a true front and back view here. And then lastly, we're going to create what I'm going to call reverse. Reverse is basically the inverse of the default view. So it's him 45 degrees looking off to the other side. And to do that, I'm just going to import the default head by clicking this and then clicking the flip image option down here. And that's going to allow me to just effortlessly flip it, which is nice. I'll do the same thing for the back of the head. I'm going to flip this. So now we have a kind of looking the other direction head. So now we have a complete rotation of the head here, including front and back parts. So now comes the binding part. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, so follow along carefully, and hopefully if you have a setup similar to this, it will work out for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this side view, and we're going to include the value of 0, because if you think about it in a 360-degree way, we're going to start from 0 and actually go reverse. So let's bind it at the spin of 0. We're going to select head again and select front. This time, we're going to select negative 90. Make sure you hit enter, and then click bind. Go back to head, go to reverse. We're going to select the bone again, and this time, we're going to enter negative 135, hit enter, and select bind. Then lastly, we're going to go to head, make sure default is selected, and we're going to change this to negative 45, and then hit bind. Alright, so now we've actually added multiple views to our head, and we've articulated the different angles where the sides or the views are most applicable. So we'll hit accept. Alright, back in our rig editor here, we're actually going to use this drop down. We're going to make sure that we have one of the animation rig keyframes selected, then use this drop down and uncheck disable 3D rotation. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to snap between views. And because we have automatic selected, based on where we're rotating the head, that's going to determine which sprite is going to use. So let's test it out and see if it works. So we're going to select the spin rotation mode here, and we're going to click and drag and check it out. We have a complete rotation of all the sides of the sprites we drew, and this is a fantastic solution for more detailed areas of the body, like the head. You want to get just right. And this way, it's going to automatically, no matter what bone is kind of configured, it's going to actually rotate the head along with the body. And this is a fantastic solution for folks that have created sprites for multiple angles. This is not just applicable for the head. You can do it for the body or any of the other body parts as you wish, and it's a fantastic feature. There's one more sort of unintended use case for this that I wanted to share with you as well, because I find it quite useful. So let's go back to the head here, and we'll create one more view, and we'll call this red, and we're going to put it just below the default view here, and I'm going to select this head. This is his eyes are red and his mouth is a little bit more open. And then for back, I'm still going to use the back of the head view that we used before, because that won't change. Okay, so I'm going to hit bind bones, go to head, select red, and then I'm going to recall what we used, which is -45, same view as default. I'm going to click bind and accept. Now, the red eye view should not overwrite default. So if I click spin here and I go around, his eye should never appear red. That's expected and a desired result. Let's say, for example, when he's waving, I want his eyes to turn red. Well, at that point, I can choose the keyframes where I want his eyes to turn red, then change this from manual to red. So I'm specifically choosing his red, quote-unquote, side of his eyes, when in reality it's less of a side and more of a different version of his head. And then we'll allow it to go back to default right here. We'll turn off the 3D rotation, and now it looks like this. So he opens his mouth and his eyes turn red, and that was just a simple sort of hack of using the rig layer and changing the side to be specific. But the automatic feature is the main feature here. I just wanted to show this as well. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.